Oh, welcome class. And just remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, you won't get credit for it. You need to be watching this on the edpuzzle.com site. So make sure you're signed into edpuzzle.com, and I will know exactly who watched this, so I'll be able to give you guys credit. All right, so today we're going to go over mid-segment theorem. We are skipping coordinate proof for right now. So what the mid-segment theorem basically says, let's go over the vocabulary. Mid-segment of a triangle. If we take a triangle and you take the midpoints of two sides, so midpoint, those two segments are congruent, midpoint, those two segments are congruent, and connect those two midpoints, you will have a mid-segment of a triangle. You can do that for any three sides. So if we take the midpoint of this third side, you can connect those and get 1, 2, 3 mid-segments in every triangle. So what the mid-segment theorem tells us is if a segment connecting the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side and it is half as long as that side. So looking at our picture here, if DE were 6 units long, we would know that AC is 12. And that's our mid-segment theorem. So, example 1, let's use the mid-segment theorem to find some lengths. Notice down here in the diagram for example 1, mid-segment DF, you could say that that's the mid-segment opposite side BC. Okay? So find DF and AB. Well, if we look DF, that's our mid-segment, so that is going to be half as long as BC. So half of 90 is 45 inches long. Okay, now if we need to find AB, we know the mid-segment that's opposite that, FE, is 45 inches long. If FE is half as long as AB, AB is twice as long as FE. So 2 times 45 would give us 90 inches. Pretty simple. Let's have you guys do an example here. Pay attention to the vocabulary. You want the mid-segment that is opposite DF. So go ahead and answer checkpoint number 1 now. Okay, so hopefully you guys realize that we're dealing with this triangle here, okay, and we can figure out that if BC is 90, DF is 45, the mid-segment opposite DF would be this one right here. So the mid-segment opposite DF is going to be half the length of DF, okay, so half of 45 is equal to 22.5 inches long. All right, another example, example 2. In the diagram at the right, QS is equal to SP, so we know those are congruent, and PT is congruent to TR. So ST is a mid-segment. Show that QR is parallel to ST. And this is basically just going through the mid-segment theorem. Because QS is equal to SP, PT is equal to ST, S is the midpoint of QP, and T is the midpoint of PR by definition. So ST is a mid-segment of triangle PQR by definition, and QR is parallel to ST by the mid-segment theorem. Okay, so that's all example 2 is. All right, go ahead and finish checkpoint number 2. Okay, so we know that if V is the midpoint of QR, we were given in the last example that QS and SP are congruent, so if QV is congruent to VR, that is a mid-segment. So what we know is that SV is half the length of PR. We also know that segment SV is parallel to segment PR. Okay, so now we've got a tough one for you. Go ahead and solve this. I will give you a couple hints here. The question is, how long is DE? Okay, in order to get that, notice DE is 4x plus 5, so we need to solve for x. In order to solve for x, set up a geometric equation for segments DE and JG. How do segments DE and JG relate to each other? Then plug in the algebra and finish it. Remember, you're done when you know how long segment DE is. Okay, so since DE and F are midpoints, we know that DE is a mid-segment of the triangle. So DE is equal to half of GJ. Okay? Or we can say that 2 DEs are equal to 1 GJ. For the algebra, I don't want to multiply 3x and 25 by a half, so I'm going to go with that second equation. So if 2 DEs equal GJ, we have 2 times 4x plus 5 equals 3x plus 25. That gives me 8x plus 10 when I simplify the left-hand side equals 3x plus 25. Subtract 3x from both sides, subtract 10 from both sides, and then divide by 5, and we get x is, oops, that's a 3 there. So x is 3. Now we can answer the question, how long is DE? So DE is equal to 4 times 3 plus 5. So 12 plus 5 is 17. DE is 17 units long. We can check our work really quick. Find GJ. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 25 is 34. And you'll notice 34 is twice as long as 17. That's it. I will see you guys tomorrow in class.